Hair loss, men, it's something so many of us deal with, and it can be incredibly frustrating. But what if the answer isn't just in some fancy shampoo or cream? What if the real solution is about understanding a hidden root cause, something happening deep inside your body? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly that, and how you might just be able to turn things around.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a question that probably drives a lot of people crazy. How on earth can you grow a thick, amazing beard while the hair on your head is thinning out? I mean, it makes no sense, right? It feels like a total paradox. But trust me, understanding this one simple question is the key to unlocking the whole mystery of pattern baldness.
So before we can even talk about losing hair, we got to get what makes it grow in the first place, and it all starts in the follicle. Now here's the critical thing to understand. The follicle isn't the hair. Think of it more like the soil, or a tiny factory. It's the entire ecosystem that supports the hair, and this little factory needs a ton of oxygen and energy to run.
Okay, let's get into the hormones at play here. We've all heard of testosterone, right? And yeah, it generally goes down as we get older. But here's the twist. Our bodies take some of that testosterone and convert it into something called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. And DHT is like a supercharged, way more potent version of testosterone. So crazily enough, even as your testosterone is dipping, your DHT levels can actually be going up. So why is that a big deal? Well, let's walk through this domino effect. It all starts with high levels of DHT. That DHT then goes and basically launches an attack on your hair follicles. This leads to step 2. The follicles get starved of oxygen. They're literally being suffocated. In response, you get inflammation on your scalp, and your body's reaction to that inflammation is to create scar tissue. And once that scar tissue forms, well, the factory is closed for business. Hair growth just stops.
Now we've all heard it, right? Oh, it's just your genes, or it's just part of getting older, there's nothing you can do. But if it was really that simple, just about genetics, how come some people have a full head of hair in their 80s and others start losing it in their 20s? It turns out there's a much bigger piece of the puzzle that we've been missing.
Look, your genes might load the gun, but something else is pulling the trigger. There's a primary driver that's putting this whole hair loss process into overdrive, an underlying issue that's just flooding your system with that follicle-killing DHT. And it's something most of us would never ever think to connect with our hair. And here it is, the single biggest driver. The hidden root cause behind all of this is a metabolic condition called insulin resistance. This isn't just bad luck or bad genes. This is about what's happening with your metabolism and how your body is handling energy. This is what kicks off that whole hormonal disaster.
And this is how it all connects. It's a perfect chain reaction. Check this out. You start with insulin resistance. That metabolic state causes your body to produce more of an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. Now this enzyme is like a factory worker whose only job is to turn regular testosterone into that super potent DHT. So you see the chain? More insulin resistance means more enzyme, which means more DHT. And that's what leads to the hair loss.
So let's bring it back to that soil analogy because it's so perfect. The source material puts it beautifully. The follicle isn't just a thing, it's an entire living ecosystem. It's the rich soil that decides if a plant or a hair is going to thrive or just wither and die. And all that excess DHT, it's literally like pouring poison into that soil. So what happens when you pour poison into that soil? Well, this is it. The ecosystem collapses. First, it gets starved of oxygen. That's called hypoxia. Then you get chronic inflammation. The body tries to fix it by laying down scar tissue. And eventually, you end up with that smooth, shiny scalp. The soil has become totally barren. Nothing can grow there anymore.
Okay, so that sounds pretty bleak, right? But here's the good news. Can we fix the soil? Absolutely. But you can't just throw one thing at it. It takes a strategy. So let's look at a 3-step toolkit you can use to start repairing that scalp environment and maybe, just maybe, wake up those sleeping follicles.
Step 1 is physical. It's called mechanical stimulation, and a great way to do it is with microneedling. To stick with our analogy, think of it like tilling hard, compacted soil in a garden. You're gently breaking up all that restrictive scar tissue. This does 2 amazing things. It helps wake up dormant stem cells, and it finally opens up pathways for oxygen and nutrients to get back to the follicle.
Step 2. We've got to get the power back on in the factory. That's where red and near-infrared light therapy comes in. This light actually penetrates into your cells and stimulates the mitochondria. You know, the little power plants inside every single one of your cells? By giving them a boost, you're giving the follicles the raw energy they desperately need to start growing hair again.
And finally, step 3 is all about circulation and protection. And for that, rosemary oil is just fantastic. Studies show it can improve circulation almost as well as the main ingredient in Rogaine. But it also does more. It helps reduce DHT right there on the scalp, it fights inflammation, and it even helps protect those little mitochondrial power plants. So it's like a triple threat for your scalp.
And while you're doing all that on the outside, you have to support it from the inside. There are 2 nutrients that are just non-negotiable here. You need zinc to help stimulate hair growth factors, and you need vitamin D3, which is absolutely critical for waking up those stem cells. And as you can see, the source recommends some pretty serious daily amounts to really move the needle.
Okay, but I need you to hear this because it's the most important part of this entire explainer. You can do the microneedling, you can use the red light, you can apply all the rosemary oil in the world, but if you don't fix the underlying metabolic problem, you're just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom. None of this will stick long-term unless you address the root cause, which is insulin resistance.
So if we have to fix the root cause, how do we do that? Well, a huge part of it is what you eat. So let's build what the source calls the ultimate hair growth meal. Something specifically designed to give your body the building blocks it needs and to support you from the inside out.
Let's break this down. First up, liver and onions. I know, but listen, liver is an absolute powerhouse of the exact minerals your hair is starving for, like iron and zinc. The onions have quercetin, which is a great anti-inflammatory. Then, sauerkraut. It's one of the highest sources of vitamin C on the planet, which is crucial, plus hundreds of other nutrients. And finally, some pumpkin seeds. They're packed with minerals, and get this, they also act as a natural inhibitor of that enzyme that creates DHT.
So I want to leave you with this idea. Maybe, just maybe, losing your hair isn't just about aging or vanity. Maybe it's a signal, a check engine light from your own body telling you that it's time to pay attention to your metabolic health. So the question isn't just, why am I losing my hair? The real question is, what is your body trying to tell you?